Hi everyone, my name is David Norris, and I'm a stay-home father. I want to tell you about my experience. I have two amazing children, Leandros and Maya. My daughter Maya, who's 4, was diagnosed with nonverbal autism about 2 years ago. My wife was doing an amazing job being a stay-at-home parent for about 8.5 years, taking care of our son, and was doing an amazing job with our daughter. But as most people can relate who have a nonverbal autistic child, since they can't communicate, hitting and kicking and scratching is part of their communication. And she's bigger, so she's a little bit stronger. And unfortunately, my wife was having a hard time holding her sometimes when she would pick her up from school. And so we talked about it, and we actually decided to switch it up. And she started to look for work, and she found a job, and I started taking care of our daughter. It was difficult at first because you're trying to figure out how to take care of someone who can't even talk. And it's been one of the most amazing years of my life, but also one of the hardest. My daughter didn't even want me to touch her. I couldn't even put my hand around her. Couldn't even hug her or hold her. A lot of autistic children need to walk back and forth and can't stay held down. I was able to handle the hits and kicks and scratches better than my wife could. So I started taking over and taking her to school and picking her up. But then I started doing a lot of research. I used to work in a mental hospital for 10 years, and I've worked with autistic people. I've studied in school this diagnosis, but that information was about 10 years to 12 years old. So I had to throw away everything I thought I knew and started doing more research, up-to-date research. Because I kept thinking I knew how to handle this. But of course, when you're taking care of a patient, taking care of a loved one are two different things. And so I tried to figure out how to approach her in a way that would figure out what she wanted, what she needed, but also trying to set rules and balances of, no, you can't do that. Because since she can't communicate, hitting actually is a part of her communication. So if you're getting what she wants by hitting, she's going to keep hitting. And so I had to walk through countless battles of her hitting, kicking, and scratching. And so some of the research that has actually led me to be able to connect with my daughter. It took me a while just sitting next to her watching shows, and I would try to put my hand around her, she would move it. I would try to put my hand on her leg, she would move it. I would just try to sit next to her, and finally she started letting me, be intimate, just sitting there hanging out and put my arm connecting skin to skin, which is very important, and then it got to the point where I would be able to lay my head in her lap. And to any parent who has a nonverbal autistic child, to be able to lay your head in your child's lap while you're watching shows and just hanging out is a huge thing. And she would hover her hands above me, and not know what to do. And then weeks after of just doing that, she started rubbing my head and just kind of feeling comfortable and getting relaxed. And now we cuddle all the time. We wrestle, and she has PDA. that I found out through some of my research. And so a lot of that is, she likes to have just pressure and all that stuff. And so I had to figure out how to like massage her and play with her, just engage different things. And it's been a blessing. I mean, every autistic child, every kid is different. And just trying to figure out what works for me could possibly work for you. You got to give yourself time. You got to give yourself, when you're trying to raise an autistic, nonverbal autistic child, you think with a normal child, you explain something a few times, it might take a few weeks for them to learn something. You got to expand yourself on years, months, and stuff like that, to try to like walk through certain things. It can be frustrating. You can think, oh, this isn't working out. It's not gonna pan out. Everyone was kind of like, why are you trying to lay your head in your daughter's lap? Because at first she would hit, she's like, what, and push me away, and now she loves it. And so you just gotta have an idea and try to walk through it and see if it can work out. Now, when it comes to the hitting and kicking, I just had to figure out what she was trying to tell me. Whether she was hungry, wanted to watch shows, wanted to go outside, wanted to play with toys, wanted to go to bed, all these different things that she can't say to me, and I have to figure out what it is she needs. And we finally found a way to have her hold my hand and lead me to what it is she wants. Whether she leads me to the table for food, to the couch for shows, to her toys, whatever it is, I was able to find a way to connect and lead the conversation of finding out what she needs. A lot of times I lost hope. The struggle is you just want to be able to talk to your child. You want to be able to ask them, what are your thoughts? What interests you? Find out what sparks their interest. And so I've just been trying to walk through those emotions and move forward. I think for me, one of the balances is trying to walk through whatever I need to with her, whether it's learning to brush her teeth, comb her hair, wash her hands. It can be a struggle for all that stuff, as well as paying attention to my son and making sure he's getting the love that he needs too. Because when you have an autistic child and a regular child, you tend to focus on the one that needs a lot more help. I didn't want my son feeling like he was not getting any love. Some of the things I've learned is diet. I'm trying to learn what foods are going to be good for her. I had to take out a lot of different stuff that she was eating, whether it was just breads, carbohydrates, processed foods. I started looking at organic fruits and vegetables. Thankfully, she eats her vegetables. She loves her broccoli and green beans, and carrots. I usually start with just vegetables in the morning. I mean, fruits in the morning. So fruits in the morning. I've seen a difference just removing a lot of the carbohydrates, or gluten, if you will. I still give her like pretzels and some bread, like toast and stuff. But she only drinks water. She doesn't drink milk. So how do you find a balance of getting the calcium that she needs for her bones? She gets it through the broccoli. thankfully, she loves cheese. So I was able to make her quesadillas, or just put cheese down, with cheese sticks and stuff like that. I was just trying to find ways to get her the nutrients that she needed. And then I started doing research on gut health and what these foods actually do. And the problem is most people, their gut healths are way out of balance. And so I actually found a lot of research on the different foods and vitamins and supplements that would be positive. So I started trying different things. I started trying different things before I would give it to her. In my research, I was thirsty for knowledge on what I could do to help her. Anytime I would talk to her teacher or doctor, they would say, well, you can't cure her. And I'm like, okay, I understand that I can't cure her, but I can understand her a little bit more. I know that she's going to learn better from her teacher certain things. And then once I can start to learn them, then I can implement them at home and help out. But my job was to try and make sure she's getting the right foods, what's lacking, and understand. And so what I found is that autistic children don't absorb minerals and vitamins through their food like normal people. And so the imbalance in their gut doesn't break down the foods properly. The bacteria, microbiome, as you will, affects a lot of that stuff. And so I started researching what doesn't get absorbed. And so I started finding like magnesium, vitamin D and K2, and probiotics. And so I can make a video later about all the stuff I give her. I started giving her like inulin powder in her water, which helps her upper intestines. As you can probably tell, I'm not the best speaker in the world. I'm usually not the one in front of the camera. I'm just trying to do what I need to do. But I feel like I have a lot to say on this topic that might be helpful to some people. In the beginning, my daughter wasn't able to make eye contact. She wasn't acknowledging anything I would say to her. I would try to move in front of her and see if she would keep her eye contact. And what I found is vitamin D and K2 actually help with keeping eye focus. I had to find the right measurements. So she gets about 1,000 IUs of vitamin D and K2 to balance it out. And so I started noticing, that was like one of the first things I started giving her was vitamin D. And so what I noticed is that she started giving eye contact. She started staying focused. And so I was like, okay, so I'm figuring it out. I started trying lion's mane and reishi and turkey tail. And I saw a huge difference with that as well. She started engaging more a little bit, being more relaxed, giving her magnesium and glutathione, which magnesium, glutathione, vitamin D, K2, they all need to be used to balance in the body. They all help each other. So what I've started to notice is once I started giving her all these different things, and I added a multivitamin as well, so she can get all the other stuff she needs, like copper and yada yada, all the different things in the daily vitamins. And we have ABA therapists that come to the house, and they kept telling me that they were shocked at how much what I was giving her, and actually what she was actually doing, like how well she was doing. And so the cool thing is I started getting like feeling good. I was like, okay, so what I'm doing is doing the right thing, moving in the right direction. Because a lot of times you're like, am I doing the right thing? Am I taking care of her all right? You know, I just want the best for my daughter and my son. And so one of the new things I just found was leucovorin calcium. That's one of the new things I started adding to her daily routine. Leucovorin and calcium is a type of folinic acid. Regularly, the folic acid or folinic acid that's in her daily vitamins, most kids, it would get through the blood-brain barrier and it would help develop the brain that way. But for some odd reason, in some children, the antibodies are actually blocking the folinic acid from getting to the receptors. And leucovorin calcium, folinic acid, this one is actually getting past the antibodies and actually helping develop that part. Since I started giving it to her a few weeks ago, she actually started saying words again. She's whispering them. She'll count like 1, 2, and she'll say square and circle. Because before she started having her symptoms, she would count to 20. She would say all her shapes. She would say her colors. She used to talk and do all these amazing things. And then when she turned 2, she started regressing. And so the cool thing is I'm starting to see some signs that what we're giving her is actually helping. You want to be careful though, because as I contacted the doctor and talked to her about wanting to put her on this leucovorin, we started giving her 6 pills a day, 3 in the morning, 3 at night, and each pill that I crush up is 5 milligrams, and so that was like 30 milligrams. So she got a huge rash when I first started doing it, and that was like, okay, I need to pull back. So I started giving her just 10, so 2 pills, and we'll start to go from there. But I'm seeing a huge change, which is amazing. I'm grateful that in my research I was able to find that. I would read up about all that stuff before you start giving your child anything like that, if you decide to do that. I think one of the things that I'm grateful for is being able to see the change. In a year, she's gone from not being able to focus, not being able to look, not being able to respond, to now she responds. She looks at me, keeps eye contact. We actually go to the park and she'll actually play on the playground. I actually thank her teachers for that, because they walked her through that at school, because every time I would take her to the park, she would fight. She was afraid. She would try to crawl up the steps, but then, we just had a hard time. And I think she might have seen some of the other kids at her class playing and having fun. So thankfully, because it takes a village. I'm not going to expect that I'm going to be teaching her everything, but I'm just trying to do my part as her father, making sure she's getting everything she needs and walking through certain things. As of right now, we're trying potty training, and that has been an interesting situation, to say the least. So we've been going every 20 minutes to see if we can do that, and it hasn't worked out. But then she's showing me signs that she is ready, because she'll take her Pampers off and she'll pee on the floor. So that's been a fun thing. So I might update to you guys on that process. Where my wife said it took our son about a week. So we're going on a month now. And so, yeah, it's been it's been fun. It's been fun. But I just wanted to share my experience with you guys. I know a lot of people could probably relate with some of the things I've gone through, so I know I'm not alone. And that's the cool thing, is knowing that I'm not alone in this experience. But hopefully something that I said, kind of teaches or has you do some research that might lead you in the right path to take care of your child. I myself have been taking all the supplements as well, and so I've actually been able to do a lot better. I feel better, and I see that things are going well for her. So I guess to close it up, I just want to say thank you for listening. If I can ask just one thing, is please share this. The more views I get, the more I can get out there. And I'm going to try doing a follow-up of everything that I do for her when it comes to the vitamins and supplements. And I'll even show you the measurements that I do in another video. So I just want to say thank you for listening, and I hope you have an amazing day. All right, thank you. Bye.